The thing that was very fascinating to me about the script is that it wasn't so much a film about a disease, it's about people confronting an truth about themselves that they would not otherwise do. And I think that's what life, I mean, that's the dynamic that happens in life. And so I think anytime you have any kind of illness or obstacle, it's the chance for you to become another version of you. Movie making is all about the details, and it's a series of details, and every single detail either helps to tell your story or it gets in the way of you telling the story. And the thing which I love about the cast is they are all a part of the incredible details, and every single person is helping to tell the story in a brilliant, smart way. Each of the characters are stuck playing a version of themselves, and there's a more complicated, more interesting, more evolved, maybe sadder and maybe braver and maybe more foolish, but a deeper version of them inside of themselves. So that you're not you. None of the characters are who they really are at the beginning of the movie. And as the movie journeys, they become more of who they are. People, if somebody asked, at one point, someone asked me, one of the crew said, "Are you having fun?" And I said, "No." Because I mean, I enjoy myself. I love working with actors. I love collaborating. But there's always a part of me as a director where I feel like I'm the guardian. I'm the guardian of the material. I have to protect the actor's process. I have to do so much so that therefore I find a kind of freedom and exhilaration in collaboration. But there's a part of my brain that is always watching and studying. So I feel a sense of play when I'm on the set. And even though I feel a sense of play, that would imply that I'm having fun, and I am having fun a lot of the times. I'm enjoying myself, but I think there's always a sense of me that is very aware, that feels the responsibility, that feels an incredible sense of responsibility. And so that sense of responsibility tends to temper a kind of, I had responsible fun. I didn't have carefree fun, because I don't feel as though I'm allowed to. I think it's a story of people who, in the presence of loss, discover power and strength and joy. I believe people are accidentally brave, and I think when people set out to be brave, there's a kind of narcissism that's going on, whereas people who actually do brave things, they trip into it. You know, they're going down the street and somebody's in peril. They don't go, "Oh, I'm now going to be brave." They see an obstacle and they just dive into it. And through the course of it, they end up doing something brave. And I think that's what happens in the movie. People become accidentally brave or heroic, or accidentally trip into being better versions of themselves.
We were sent the book "You're Not You" by Alison Greenspan and Denise Denovi, and we read it and we instantly fell in love with it. George Wolfe is all about character, and as an actor, that's everything. He's extraordinary in how he gives his direction to everybody a little bit differently and secretly. Something that I always really like, when he gives you your direction quietly, because it might affect your performance, might be affecting what the other person's doing. So if they hear it, then they'll be in on it and be able to prepare. So it's always, you're always able to be on your toes a little bit with what's the other actor about to do. Emmy was always my first choice for Beck. There was no one else that I could see in the role. I saw her audition and she brought me to tears. She was so moving. She just was Beck from the beginning. And she's obviously an extraordinary talent. But it's so wonderful to be able to be a producer and read a book, then develop the script, see the various rewrites that it goes through, and then see one day an actress come in and read, and it's right, everything you've envisioned and more is right in front of your eyes. To me, that's Emmy Rossum. Just like I said, no question in my mind. Kate, to me, is a woman who is a perfectionist for a lot of reasons, is controlling over every aspect of her life. And it's interesting that this illness, ALS, afflicts her, because everything that you have control over is suddenly taken away and you have absolutely no control. I didn't know a whole lot about ALS. It's, you know, but like anything, the more research that you do about it, you realize that it's affecting a lot of people. The way I've found, the people that I've talked to who have ALS, the way people treat them is so different. It's like all of a sudden they're a 5-year-old again. It's the idea of losing your voice, losing, if your body just failed, but it's actually your voice too. And how do you communicate? How do you move through life with that? And some of the people that I've seen and know, they have extraordinary partners. And that love is so profound, to see someone see another person through life in that way is astoundingly beautiful, and a reminder to hold the ones that we love close to us, because you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You just never do. So my heart goes out to them, and yet a lot of them are like, don't feel sorry for me. I'm, this is what happened, but I'm making the most of it. I had some creative leeway in how I chose for my body to start deteriorating, and at what level. Obviously, my voice had to be working to some extent so that the audience could understand me, but Beck also talks for me. So finding that balance was a challenge. I think the idea of, in your life, you give up something for other people, and then something is taken from you, and you then have to give it up, or any hope of ever having it back in your life. So no longer was it given up for someone else, it's then taken from you. And for Kate, that's playing the piano. And so Beck being able to know that about her, and without saying anything, just gently guide her hands onto hers as she plays, is such a beautiful gift. The Kate and Beck journey of two people who are in completely polar opposite worlds, who have more in common than they think, and who help each other become more fully realized in the least suspecting of circumstances, is just a reminder to be, in my opinion, more open-minded to others, and to be less judgmental, and to be more present in life, and to be in the moment. And like I said earlier, you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think just try and be in it, and share it with other people.
I was drawn to the project when I initially read the script. It was emotional and powerful, but also had a sense of hope, and it was real and gritty and fun. And a lot of that, my connection to the material, came from the character of Beck. She starts out as a girl who has kind of lost her way. She's drifting. She's kind of in college, kind of dropping out of college. She's having an affair with her married professor. She's drinking a little bit too much. She's an aspiring musician who doesn't really have the guts to get up on stage and sing. And that all changes when she answers an ad in the college paper, a help wanted ad, to go work for a woman who has ALS. I think Kate sees that this girl has no idea what she's doing, and I think for Kate that is a sense of control, because it's not a nurse who has done this before and is going to just boss Kate around and go through the motions. This is a girl that she thinks she can teach her way of nursing, the way she wants to be taken care of. It's kind of a love story between two women that's non-romantic. It starts off and we don't really get along very well, and slowly, through trial and error, we come to understand each other and grow and make each other more human and more connected. And we have somewhat similar relationships with our mothers. And through that, we kind of teach each other, and she teaches my character how to live. I love Hilary. She's incredibly smart, very instinctual, works from a technical but also an emotional standpoint. And I think that we've kind of found that we work similarly. We have similar approaches, and it's been really fun kind of discovering the characters together. I was very intimidated just to walk into the audition room with George. I had heard from so many people that he's so specific, he knows exactly what he wants, and he's very opinionated, and I'm very opinionated. And I thought, we're either going to get along great, or we're totally not going to get along at all. I've never been a caregiver. I'm an only child, so I've never really taken care of siblings or anything like that. But I did research the disease and watch some kinds of documentaries about it, about what happens to the body. Also, I have a friend whose father passed away from ALS, so I talked to her a lot about it and her experience with that. Actually, she took care and was her father's caregiver in Texas, and she drove a pickup truck. So I feel like it's a very parallel story to her.
My name is Josh Duhamel, and I play Evan in the movie. Evan Dean. I am an attorney. I'm a litigator, and life is good. I've got a successful interior decorator for a wife. Hilary Swank plays my beautiful wife, and it isn't until a few minutes into the movie that we realized that things aren't as good as they seem to be. When I first heard about the script or heard about the story or this character, I was like, wait a second, this guy, he cheats on his deathly ill wife? That doesn't sound like a very fun character to play. And then I read the script, and it was something that I think everybody can probably relate to. And it's not that this guy didn't love or care for his wife. It's just that, after taking care of somebody as they're going from, a strong, physical, powerful love to having to suddenly take over the role of caretaker is a difficult one, and he's very dutiful in that, and he wants to do everything right, and he feels like he's done everything right. But what he hasn't had is any sort of affection to himself over the last year. Well, George is everything that I heard. He is very much an actor's director. He's got a way of helping you understand exactly what he wants, and pulling things out of you that you hadn't even imagined. And I did a lot of work getting ready for this, and he's got a very specific perspective on what he wants and how to get it from you. And he's a very sweet man and very talented. He's everything that they said he was. It's a great love story. It's a great story about friends. It's a great story about people coming full circle and actually evolving and learning. But you can't help but to understand what the plight of somebody with ALS is. And it's not even, to me, this isn't a movie about the disease as much as it is about how people deal with issues and how you have the ability to grow beyond what you ever thought you could.